Okay, great. I think we're going to get started. So good morning, everyone, or good afternoon or evening, depending on where you're tuning in from today. Very happy to have you joining us for our MBA program webinar. My name is Jennifer Differ. I'll be the moderator of today's webinar. Just a little bit about myself. I am the Director of Enrollment for our MBA program. I've been fortunate enough to have been with Hult since 2009, so coming up on 10 years now. I started my career with Hult at our Boston campus and moved coast about 4.5 years ago. So I'm now at Hult's San Francisco enrollment office. I love having the opportunity each day to talk with prospective students, learn about their MBA plans, and work with them through the admissions process. Many students I work with over the course of several months, so it's always exciting to be able to then welcome them to campus come September. So just a little bit about the webinar today. I'm going to get started with a brief overview of our MBA program, talking a little bit about our enrollment process as well as our career support. I'll then turn it over to our Senior Associate Dean, Mary Duckowitz, who will do more of a deep dive into the program content. Then Alejandra Haro, one of our current students, will talk with you all about student life. And please save any questions that you have. We'll definitely have 10 or 15 minutes or so for a Q&A. So be sure that you do note down any questions that come up. Great. All right. So Hult's MBA program is a one-year accelerated degree with a focus in global business. The program is very practical and hands-on, allowing students many opportunities during the year to really put into practice what they've been learning in the classroom. Our MBA program is designed for candidates with 3 or more years of professional experience post-university. Now, if you don't yet have work experience or have less than that, we do offer a Master of International Business, which is modeled after our MBA program. We really value having students in our program from all different academic and professional backgrounds, both business and non-business. So you'll find that your classmates represent not only a wide mix of nationalities, but also a range of industries and roles. Okay, so at Hult, you have the opportunity to start your program at any of our home locations. So that would be here in San Francisco, Boston, London, or Dubai. You can study the entire year at your home location, or you have the opportunity to rotate, to go to 1 or 2 of our other locations while you take your elective courses in the final few months of the program. The rotation is optional, but it's really a great way to get firsthand experience as to how business is done in other parts of the world and to really learn how cultural perspectives play a role in business decisions. Employers today are really looking to hire individuals who do have global business experience, so this is a great way to set yourself apart. Okay, so wherever you study at Hult, you will be fully immersed in diversity. Hult's student body is made up of students from 160 different nationalities. We are an American school, however, there's not one nationality that makes up more than 10% of the student body. So as you can imagine, very unique, incredibly diverse set of students that you'll be with. Across our campuses, 117 languages are spoken, with the average student speaking about 3 languages. And so you can imagine what a global network you're building, not only in the program, but also as an alum. Okay, so making the decision to step away from work and pursue a full-time MBA program is, of course, a big one, as I'm sure some of you are thinking about right now. So you want to be confident, of course, that your degree will pay off and that you'll have the support you need during the program to secure the right opportunity afterward. So whether you want to advance your career at your current company, change roles, or start your own enterprise, Hult has a proven track record for setting you up for success after graduation. So just some statistics from our class graduating last year. The class of 2017 accepted more than 600 jobs in over 60 countries. 91% of Hult MBAs were employed within 3 months after graduation. And 98% of graduates changed location, function, or industry post-Hult. 156% is the average increase on pre-MBA salary for Hult graduates. I think something else really interesting to note as you're thinking about the investment you make in an MBA. Hult was ranked #2 globally by The Economist for return on investment, with the average student making back their investment in just 2.6 years. Okay, so Hult graduates are in demand at some of the world's leading companies and in the most competitive industries. We collaborate with these companies during your MBA program, both inside and outside of the classroom. Working with these organizations really gives you unique insight into what it takes to work at the highest level and puts you in the best possible position for recruitment throughout your career. So you can see here some of our leading employers. We have, just to name a few, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Tesla, Amazon, Audi, Ernst & Young, Lufthansa, Bloomberg, Vodafone, and Deloitte. We also tend to see about 8% of each year's graduating class going on to start their own company. So if that's something of interest to you, we do have a very entrepreneurial student body here. Great. So to help you achieve your career goals, our career services team will be supporting you throughout your program year. In fact, they actually begin working with students even in the months leading up to the program. So for those of you who have already decided to attend this program this fall, during the summer months, you will have the opportunity to take part in our Fast Track program, a great way to really get ready to hit the ground running on your career search once you begin the program. So during the year, you're going to have the opportunity to take part in skill-based workshops, one-to-one advising sessions, boot camps, and networking events, really to ensure that you are recruitment ready after the program. Okay. All right, so I just want to briefly touch on our enrollment process. For those of you who may be considering submitting an application for fall, we are still accepting applications. What you'd want to do would be to go to our website, hult.edu/apply, and begin your application. A director of enrollment from your particular region will reach out to you to start working with you on the next steps. We take a very personalized approach to our admissions process, so you'll have a lot of support. They'll talk with you a little bit about your profile, work with you on collecting your documents. You will have a personal assessment interview, and then usually within about 2 weeks of that, you will receive a decision back. And then there will be a deadline set for you to let us know if you'll be joining our program this fall. We do offer a range of scholarship and financial aid opportunities, so both partial merit scholarships as well as needs-based financial aid. And your director of enrollment can certainly share more information with you about that with regards to your profile and which opportunities you'd be eligible for. Okay. So again, those of you interested in applying, mark your calendar. March 26th is our upcoming deadline. Okay, great. So at this point, I would like to turn it over to Dean Mary, who is going to do more of a deep dive into our academic program. Thanks, Mary.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Mary Dekowitz, and I am going to sort of do a deep dive into the MBA program. I'm trying to share my screen here. Jen, can I have you get off so that I can go on? Okay, hold on, guys. Okay, all right. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I am the Senior Associate Dean on the Boston campus, and I have been at Hult since 2015. I was an Associate Dean over at another business school for about 14 or 15 years and came over to Hult, and I originally started on the global team. So when you say, what did you do on the global team? It was really that sort of part of my job was to ensure that the MBA in Boston was the same as the MBA in Dubai, and make sure that there was consistency across all of the programs. So one of the things that happened was that they had an opening on the Boston team, and they needed some help with faculty and students, and they said, will you go join the Boston team? And I was happy to do that because sort of my background in higher ed administration. And my favorite part of the day, and Alejandra will back this up sort of when she comes on to her part of it, is that I'm in the MBA classrooms every day, right? That is the highlight of my day, and I look forward to seeing the MBAs each and every day as I sort of go on this journey with them. So one of the things that, let me see if I can get to my screen now. So I'm going to have you guys sort of advance the screen for me since my screen share isn't working. Jen?
Oh, Mary, try now. Are you
Okay.
able to do it now? If not, I'll pull up your
Why
slides.
don't you, yeah, if you pull up my slides, Jen, that would be great.
Okay, no
Okay.
problem.
All right. So the screen, so the next one is really sort of talking about the MBA journey, and the tagline really of you, business, the world, and the future. It's really a wonderful tagline, right? Because sort of for me, one of the things I think a lot about is moments that matter. And this is a huge decision. I mean, Jennifer talked about this sort of at the beginning. Sort of, this is a big decision for you financially, from a career perspective. And you want, I mean, the whole thing about getting an MBA is that you want to create different opportunities for you and or your families. So one of the things that happened is I was at a staff retreat in Barcelona about a year ago. And they were talking about what makes a Hult MBA student different and unique. And one of the words that everybody decided on the end was the word grit. And so I thought a little bit about the word grit. And I was like, what does that really mean for sort of MBA students? And I did some research, and there's actually a fair amount of research on the word grit. And so if you were to sort of do some research, you would find a woman named Angela Duckworth and Margaret Perlis who did a lot of research. And so they came up with 5 characteristics: courage, conscientiousness, follow through, resilience, and a strive for excellence. And so when you think about what you're going to do over the next year, is that courage. I mean, many of you will make the decision to come to the US. You know, many of you haven't been in school for a really long time. Many of you are going to think about leaving your family and friends for a year or bringing them with you. And then conscientiousness, sort of being prepared and meeting deadlines. You know, sort of you're going to be in a 1-year program. So the word follow through becomes really important when you're doing a lot of teamwork, because if you let your team down, sort of there's huge impacts in terms of sort of relationships you have, but also on your grades. And then resilience. I mean, Alejandro will probably talk about this, but you're in a 1-year program with getting all your credits done. So 48 credits done in the course of 1 year. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of credits. It's very rewarding. It's very satisfying. But resilience is that sort of everybody sometimes has this moment where you might hit sort of a teeny wall, but then you get through it. And sort of you build your resilience skills. And when you come out of this MBA program, you are ready for just about anything. But in the end, I mean, you absolutely will be a different person. You will think differently. And you will be really glad that you did it. So Jen, can you go to the next slide for me? So let's do the program overview. Sort of the way that it works is that there are really 5 modules. You'll start with a thing called Immersion, which is a 2 or 3 week sort of immersive experience. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Immersion at the end of the program, but then you will go into sort of more traditional fall, winter, spring, summer modules. So fall and spring is where you're going to take the majority of your core courses. Core courses at Hult are the same as core courses in any business school. You're going to have accounting, you're going to have finance, you're going to have operations. The other thing that you will have is sort of a leadership curriculum that's going to run inside of the curriculum. In some business schools, the leadership will be sort of an external thing that happens maybe in one organizational behavior course or through clubs and sort of the student experience side of the house. But at Hult, sort of leadership is sort of a central theme, and I think is one of the things that will differentiate you coming out as a Hult graduate. So fall will start around October 1st and then would go through like the middle of December. Then we'll give you a month off, and then you'll come back in January, and then you'll finish up sort of in the end of March. So this year, sort of the MBA students took 5 courses in the fall, and they took 6 courses in the spring. So when you think about sort of the workload, time management then becomes a really important part of your life in terms of sort of being able to manage all of the reading and preparation and teamwork that you have. So then you get to the spring, and this is the moment sort of, you know, when you think about the mission of Hult, right, it's to be as applied and practical and relevant as possible. So one of the things that you do in the spring term is that you will get to select a team, and you will work on an idea. It's called like the equivalent of a business challenge, right, where you'll either have a brand new idea that you want to develop with a group of people, or you'll see an existing idea that you think could be improved upon, and you take that idea and try and take it to the next level. And so that's really fun. Sort of in Boston, we had a wonderful thing where we had angel investors come in, we had venture capitalists come in, and we say to them, if you were going to invest money in a particular project, which of these projects, of all the ones that you've seen, do you believe has the most merit and value, and that you would invest in sort of if the opportunity came up? So students love that. Alejandra's getting ready to go into that sort of in the next couple of weeks. And then you get to the summer. And the summer is a really fun time, right? Because you're taking electives, you're picking the courses that you want to take. And then the decision for you is, do you want breadth or do you want depth, right? So some students really want to take all their electives in finance. Like they know that they want to go into finance and they're going to take everything in finance. Then you'll have some other students that will say, you know what, I need to sort of cherry pick my electives because I have a gap in artificial intelligence, or I have a gap in negotiation, and they will sort of work with the career team or work with me and figure out what's the best slate of electives that's really going to position you as you head into your career. And so Jennifer talked a little bit about sort of rotation. I mean, I think that many students, I mean, I think one of the great things about Hult is your ability to rotate and go to different campuses. And it's a fun time. You know, you're there for a few weeks, you get to take a course, you get to experience the city. And, you know, sometimes you'll go to parts of the world that you may not have an opportunity to do at other points in your life. And so that's a little bit about the program overview. And I know that if you have questions, just, you know, jot them down and we will keep going. And then we have dual degrees. And dual degrees, I think, is a wonderful sort of thing that happens at Hult, where you have the opportunity to add a second degree on if you want to stay for another 6 months. And we have them in Boston. We'd have marketing, and we would have finance in Boston, and you'd have disruptive innovation and business analytics in San Francisco. The thing that is appealing to a lot of students is that there are some wonderful scholarships available for the second degree, but they're totally dependent on sort of enrollment confirmation and different deadlines. So I would talk with your enrollment advisor if you're thinking about that. We have many, many students that are thinking about doing the dual degree right now as they get closer to sort of the end of the core curriculum. So next slide for me, Jen. Okay, so this is an example of program learning outcomes. And the reason that I put this slide on is that I wanted you to pay attention really to the verbs that are in these slides. And so you're seeing verbs like analyze and appraise and formulate and refine, right? All action verbs that sort of are really going to give you skills, they're going to give you frameworks, that it all becomes things about skills and critical thinking. And then you might say to me, so that's nice. So how are you going to test me on some of these things? And then if you go to the next slide, sort of I picked 2 courses that are quite different from each other. Sort of, you know, you got a business and global society course and you have a global strategy course. And so you would see that we do a variety of things. You know, we do traditional midterms and exams. We do a lot of case analysis. We do a lot of group projects and presentations. But the key thing that sort of you see in here is that sort of there's a good blend of individual and group work. And that becomes sort of some of the common themes of all of your courses. I think that when you think about the group project in business and global society, sort of all of the groups had to take something from the UN sort of sustainable goals and then map a business problem to that and how they might sort of improve things sort of in the world. And a very rewarding project for students. And then you've got something in global strategy where, you know, you're taking you're taking something like Google, right? Or you're taking the Hong Kong Economic Times and doing a really deep dive analysis as part of your grade, and you get to work with some different people in that. Okay. So this is a snapshot of the faculty. This is the Boston faculty, and one of the things, if you look at any of their backgrounds and their bios, you will see that they really are leaders in their field. If you look at sort of Professor Dan Dineff, he has been voted the faculty member of the year in Boston, I think the last 12 years in a row. I mean, it's amazing what this guy does. But all of them are really talented professionals and scholars in their fields. So the thing about faculty that I think is really important as you think about your learning is that sort of what's the goal? Like, the goal is that you have meaningful and impactful student experiences. And meaningful and impactful student experiences, the best way to do that is in the classroom. So one of the things that we talk to the faculty always about is, how do you make your course applied and relevant and practical as you can be? And so my question to them when I talk to them is, why does it matter? So you take all of the course topics that you're teaching. Why does it matter to an MBA that they need to know this? And to constantly be thinking about that as we position sort of all of you to sort of go on and be middle managers, and senior executives in your company. Okay. So the next slide is to really to talk about immersion. And immersion is really, it's how you start your academic year. As I said at the beginning, it's 2 to 3 weeks. And the goal of immersion is really to position you for success in the program, right? We want to introduce you to the leadership curriculum. We want to introduce you to the Hult DNA, sort of core tenets of what we do. And we want you to have a chance to sort of meet and interact with your classmates. You're going to spend a year with all of these folks, and day in and day out. So it's important that sort of we give you lots of opportunities to get to know each other. So when people talk about sort of the Hult DNA, they may like, so really, what is that? And so really, it's sort of a tenet where we really work on sort of 3 critical things. We work on team building, we work on your thinking skills, and we work on your communicating skills, right? And so then you'll hear about this thing called the growth mindset. And the growth mindset is another critical piece of sort of the leadership curriculum. And if I had to summarize the growth mindset in sort of one phrase, it would be the power of believing that you can improve, right? Nothing is fixed, nothing is in stone, and that sort of everything is an opportunity to get better at what you do. And then finally, sort of, I can talk a little bit about what I think makes a Hult student, Hult MBA unique. I mean, Jennifer talked a little bit about sort of some of the diversity, and there is nothing like the diversity that you will get in the Hult classroom. I'm on the Boston campus, and, we have 100 countries on the Boston campus. Alejandra can talk about the fact that, in the MBA classroom, sort of there typically is 35 to 42 different countries. And that becomes really important when you're talking about the quality of the discussion in the classroom. So if you take business and global society, right, because that's the course we talked about before. If you take a topic like corruption or ethics or bribery, and you have 35 to 40 different countries sitting in the room, so that the discussion is very different than if everybody sort of is from a particular sort of nationality. If it was US based, it would be all based on the US laws. But when you have so many different countries that have different laws and practices, it just makes the discussion very, very rich and very rewarding, where people disagree with one another. Sort of, I think of the classroom as, a place where intelligent people disagree. And that's where some of the great learning comes, where somebody gives you an alternative viewpoint and you hadn't thought about that. And it gives you pause and just makes you think a little bit more. So the other thing would be, and I talked a little bit about individual work and teamwork and group work. And in the MBA program, most likely you will be on 5 to 7 different teams over the course of the core curriculum. And why do we do that? Right? We do that so that, you really get the experience of working with people from all over the world. We are very, very deliberate in how we do teams, that we want to, have you work with people from different parts of the world, sort of gender, sort of all sorts of different professional backgrounds, so that sort of when you graduate, when you go out and get that next job and they put you on a global team, you know firsthand what it's like to work with people from all over the world. And it really positions you very, very differently. And I think, again, is one of the differentiators for you as you come out of the Hult program. The other thing that I think is what draws a lot of people to Hult is there's a lot of emphasis on social entrepreneurship. And the Hult Prize is one of the most wonderful things that sort of we do at Hult. And if you haven't ever heard of it, you should just sort of Google the Hult Prize. And the Hult Prize started about 10 years ago. And, you know, it was a Hult student that had this idea that sort of you can do good and do well in social entrepreneurship. And so he went to some members of the Hult family and asked for some seed money. And this year they will have over 50,000 students, graduates and undergrad students, that are participating in the Hult Prize. And what they do is they take a global problem and they say, you need to come up with an idea that is scalable and can reach 10,000 people in 10 years. And they have all these competitions, right? Sort of the Boston regionals will be next week. And they'll have, we already know that there are 50 teams coming from around the world to just the Boston regionals. And there'll be one winner out of the Boston regionals. And those winners sort of go on to do a summer at the Executive Ed campus over at Ashridge. And then they all present in front of the UN General Assembly floor in New York in September. And if you win, you get $1 million, like $1 million in cash to start your project. And it's just a phenomenal and one of the most successful social entrepreneurship ventures, I think, that is around today. And many, many students will take advantage of being involved with it. It's really exciting. I mean, I have to say, sort of, it's one of my favorite weekends of the year. So if I had any top tips for you, I would say a couple things as you're thinking about this. One would be watch a Carol Dweck video on growth mindset. It's really inspiring, and it really I'm hoping it will change the way that you think about sort of a couple things. You need to brush up on Excel, right? Because at its heart, the MBA is a quantitative program, and you need to be able to use Excel. And, you know, some of you, haven't been in school in a while, and we'll help you in Immersion, but Excel will be one of your friends. And then I would say be open to experiences that are going to push you out of your comfort zone. Right? It's a year that's all about you and sort of developing you and your personal leadership style and your core competencies and skills. And it's wonderful. I mean, I have to say, sort of, one of my favorite parts of my job is that I get to see sort of the MBAs from the day they arrive until the day they graduate and see all of the change that happens to them over the course of the year. And it's why I love my job, right? I think I have the best job in the world. And part of it is because sort of the wonderful students and faculty and staff that work here at Hult. So with that, I will turn it back to Jennifer, and I think Alejandra is coming up next.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mary. Alejandra, I am going to stop sharing my screen. Let me know if you're able to share yours now.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, my name is Alejandra Aro. I'm from Mexico City, and I'm an MBA student. Right now, I'm part of the ambassador program, and I would like to talk about my Hult experience. Well, at first, I was like one of you guys. I didn't know what to do. I always had in mind that I wanted to do an MBA, but I didn't know where or when. I didn't know if I should have gained more work experience. So I started doing my MBA research, and I saw that one of my friends from college, he was doing his MBA at Hult here in Boston. So I called him and I did some questions, and then I realized that I wanted to apply to Hult. So I reached the advisor, my enrollment advisor. He was Christoph. He was great, because some years ago I planned to do an MBA, but I dropped down the application because I had a lot of work, because I had a lot of concerns of money. I didn't know how to do it. So Christoph, he was very supportive for me. He helped me during the whole process. I had him on WhatsApp, so every question I had, like if it was 7 a.m. or 6 p.m. or 10 p.m., he always reply me back on time, and he was like a really good advisor for me. So I came to Boston on September, and I was really worried about the adaptation. But it was really, really easy because like all the Hult staff, they are really, really supportive. All the people that work for Hult, they are friendly, and the people and my peers are amazing. Right now, I can tell that it's an international experience. I used to work for a global company and to have negotiations with a lot of people from many countries, but Hult, it's an interesting and unique experience. It's really, really challenging. At first, for me, it was overwhelming. My background is in human resources, so I didn't have a lot of numerical background. So I was so worried about the numbers, the subjects, finance, economics, but all the professors are really, really professional. They helped me through it. They have office after hours, so you can reach them anytime. You can text them, you can send them an email, and they go with you in each class, step by step, making sure that you learn. And actually, I'm learning a lot because it's amazing how you are in a classroom with 7 people of different nationalities, language, culture, beliefs, backgrounds. For example, I have people from 60 years or people from 35. I think the median is 32 years old. I think they marry, I don't know. But it's amazing because you learn a lot from the class and you learn a lot from your peers. And here, for example, the classes, they're in the morning, but you stay at the campus for the whole day to do team meetings, to do networking. Actually, Hult has, you can build your own club or you can be part of a club. So you can meet new people all the time. It's amazing. Like when I talk with my friends, I'm like, I met 3 new people today, or I'm learning every day and more every day. And it's so amazing how Hult encourage you to learn and how it gets you out of your comfort zone. It's really, really good. But not everything it's classes. Actually, well, it's a real tough year. For example, I'm doing Module B, and it's very, very tough. I have been sleeping for days, but it's so, I don't know how to explain it, but it's challenging, but it's exciting, and it's like, it's a career path full of learning, so it's amazing. And not everything is work. You also have fun and like social life at Hult. It's amazing. For example, this is a picture of Module A. It was my cohort from last year. All these guys, they became my family. I know each and one of them. Actually, we are there with Professor Hurley. He is the professor for marketing. Such a great class. And I have learned a lot from them because people here are really open to help, to do more friends. So, for example, my weaknesses, they were numbers. So I have many accountants in my cohort, and they helped me. We did study groups. We did a lot of things. Actually, here at Hult, if you have, for example, on Saturdays, they gave tutorial classes for people who needs help with finance or economics or whatever. It's a multicultural experience. Now I can say that I have friends from all over the world. My network, it's not only based in Mexico or here in Boston, it's globally, you know. And for example, last week we had a networking event with MBAs, which it was great because they are working right now and doing their MBA at the same time. So they are from many countries and they are working right now. So it's interesting how they talk about their experience and we talk about our experience. So networking, it's amazing here at Hult. And there's no typical day in the life of a Hult student. For example, you can see Boston, beautiful Boston. I'm in love with this city. We have there a picture of the ball that it was really, really fun. We have an end of immersion boat party. Since we are a multicultural school, we had our cultural day, which, for example, I'm from Mexico, so we did our own classroom with typical food, decorations. I went to each of the countries and taste different food and learn about new things about other countries. Also, we have lingo that it's downstairs. But the most important thing that Hult has is the integration. For example, during immersion, we have team buildings at leadership class with Tom Sullivan, and it was great because you get to know everyone. You get to learn a lot of things. You do a lot of reflection. You learn about yourself. Like, you are in that part when you think that you know everything, but you realize that you have a lot of things to learn. And the MBA, it helps you obviously professionally, but also personally, because I think in the last 6 months, I've been growing up, like, personally a lot. I'm like discovering myself. What do I want? For example, for Module C, that I had to choose either corporate or entrepreneurship. I had always worked for big global companies, for General Electric or for Willis Towers Watson. And I thought I was going to the corporate track. But here, during my whole experience, I realized that I want to try entrepreneurship. So now I'm going to the entrepreneurship side, and I think it will be great. And my favorite class, it's Global Business and Society, from Professor Lawrence. It was amazing. It's a class full of discussion. As Dean Mary said, it's really, really interesting how people from different ages, different countries, different languages think. So that class was amazing, and the professor as well. My favorite professor is Daniel Deneuve. It's amazing. I never thought that I was going to be that interested in economics or strategy, but he's such a great professor that his class is so fun. He actually cares about that you're learning. For example, for the first midterm, I didn't have like the great grade, so I went with him and I let him know like my concerns, and he gave me advice. He's really funny, and the best thing of all is that he is a professional. He has his own company. He works for Dr. Dolittle, so that's amazing. And he's a great professor. Actually, all the professors are amazing. They're really professional. They are English native speakers, and they are so well prepared, and they have been working for global companies as well. So they, like, for them it's normal, you know. So if you plan to work for a global company, or if you want to meet new people and live a experience different than anyone, apply to Hult. Like, if you want to invest in something, invest in yourself. You won't regret it. It has been a great experience for me. It has been challenging. I'm tired now of many projects and exams, but I'm really happy with this experience.
All right. Wonderful. Alejandra, thank you so much for all the insights that you shared. As you said, I know it's a super busy year, so thank you for taking the time to be with us. And Mary, also, thank you so much for your insights. So at this point, we are going to open it up to some Q&A. So if Alejandra and Mary will remain on the webinar, and as questions come in, I'll direct them to the person that might be best to answer that question. Okay, great. So let me just start my video here. Okay, wonderful. So we have a question from Lawrence. How should I pick the campus to study at, and what's the difference between them all? So that's a great question. I guess I'll start addressing that, and if anyone else wants to jump in, they can. So as far as the academic content, it will be the same in all of the locations. So what you're studying, the diversity of the student body, the practical experience that the professors bring is really going to be consistent. I think it's a very personal choice. And for some students, if you've just been really interested in a particular location, if, for example, you want to get experience within kind of Europe and European Union markets, then London might be a great place to be. I think each campus, as far as the networking opportunities, the companies you're going to be connecting with, there's, of course, some differences there. San Francisco, a lot of entrepreneurship and tech. Boston, some major consulting companies and healthcare. So that's something to keep in mind, as you're thinking about campus location. But, really as far as what you're learning, the content, the facilities is going to be quite consistent in every location. Okay, great. And Alejandra or Mary, if there's anything you want to add, please feel free.
Well, we're a little biased towards Boston, but
Yeah.
I think you're right, Jennifer. All the campuses are wonderful and unique in their own way, and students will have a great experience, and they can rotate to the other campuses depending on sort of if they want to experience the different cities.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. Okay, great. So we have a question with regards to, do you offer programs after MBA and the difference between 1-year and 2-year MBA? So let me answer the first question with regards to programs after the MBA. So after the 1-year program, Mary spoke a little bit about this. We do offer a really unique opportunity to go on and get a second master's degree. So you could go on if you want to just kind of further specialize and add to your expertise. You could do an international marketing program or finance in Boston, or here in San Francisco, we offer a dual degree in disruptive innovation as well as business analytics. So with the dual degree program, you're able to actually do that second degree in just 6 months. So it enables you to do your MBA and then get a second master's degree in a total of 18 months. So that's a great opportunity. You don't have to decide on that until you've been in the MBA for a few months. So you can kind of gather some more information and decide the route that's best for you. With regards to the 1-year and 2-year program, so if for any of you out there who are thinking about a part-time program, we do offer an executive MBA and metropolitan EMBA program that runs over the course of 18 months to 2 years. So it would be part-time. We actually do have a separate webinar. I actually don't have the date right in front of me, but please go to our website. We have a webinar coming up that will be specific to our part-time program, so you can get a lot more detailed information there.
Jennifer, can I add something to
Sure.
one of the things that I think is wonderful as a Hult alum is that you get the opportunity to come back and take an elective.
Yes.
There's sort of a commitment to lifelong learning for sort of Hult students, and there's always a wonderful slate of electives at all of the campuses that, there's some really small administrative fee, but you come in, and even though you think you get a lot of electives, there's always a lot more that you didn't have the opportunity to take. And so you can do that as you come back as an alum.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Thanks for bringing that up, Mary. And that is our Electives for Life program. So you can take one free elective every year for the rest of your life if you'd like to. So great way to stay relevant, continue your learning, as you said, and also just from a networking standpoint, getting to know some other alum, current students, staying connected with the professors. It's a great way to stay engaged with the school. Okay, we have a question regarding, is the second degree available in Shanghai? So the dual degree program is specific to Boston and San Francisco. If you're interested in studying in Shanghai, you would want to do that for your electives during the summer month of your MBA program. So you'd have the opportunity to spend up to about 4 months in Shanghai if you'd like to. Great. Another question with regards to assistance with employment opportunities after graduation. Yes, so as I mentioned, you'll be working very closely with our careers team at each of our locations during your MBA year. Definitely encourage you to get started on that as soon as possible in the year. Don't wait until the last minute to be working with your career advisor. And most students are employed, within a couple of months after graduation. Typically, the 3 months following graduation is, when you will have the most career support if that's something that you're interested in. If you are continuing your job search, you can certainly continue to work with a career advisor. And even after that time, if you do want to loop back in with the school with regards to opportunities, if you're, changing careers, looking to go to a different location, I think a great aspect of the career support is that our advisors are also able to really connect you with alum as well, who might be working in your field of interest or in a location that you're looking at. Okay, great. So another question coming in here with regards to minimum requirement for GMAT. Great question. So GMAT and GRE for the program coming up this year will be optional. So certainly something that you can submit as part of your overall application. In particular, for candidates who do have a very strong GMAT result, 650 or higher, there are specific scholarship opportunities that you would be eligible for. So would definitely encourage that submission, especially with regards to scholarship opportunities.
This is for me.
Yes, perfect.
So what kinds of clubs and societies do you have on the Boston campus? Well, we have clubs of everything. We have, for example, Women in Business, Latam Club, Networking Club, Consulting Club, Marketing Club. What else? We have something of entrepreneurship, I think. And we have the Wine Club. Which else? We have a lot of clubs, a lot. The photography club as well. Right now, I only have that in mind, but we have events like twice per month, so they are really great.
And I think it's true that if you have an idea and you want to start a club, it's pretty easy to start a club based on sort of interests of the class that's going every year. It changes a little bit. But Alejandra's right. We got a lot of clubs. There is no lack of things to do on campus.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? All right. Oh, all right. It looks like we've answered it all. Well, I want to thank everyone, our panelists, as well as our participants for joining today. For all of you considering an MBA program, I hope that this was helpful to you in getting a better feel for what Hult offers. If you do have further questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And I know we will have a recording of this webinar on our website, so you can certainly reference it again. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.